Alright, what's up? I'm back and finally have the Pyranha ReactR review for you. I've had this boat since September, been on all kinds of stuff. It's probably one of the boats I've had for the longest time and I don't really have any plans of getting rid of it. Spoiler alert, this is the best creek boat ever made that I've tried out at least. There are some I haven't paddled. And I don't know of anyone that's going to come out with something better. I guess it's always like, oh, this is the best boat, and then something better comes out. But man, I don't know. It's going to be tough to beat this one. The specs on the boat, this is the small, obviously. It is 8'10", which is a pretty, I guess, average size for a creek boat. It's not too long to like get caught and stuff, but also it's not like short. It's not going to get back entered a lot, any of that. Width is pretty wide for a small. It's 27 inches, but I will say it looks wide and feels wide sitting in it, but when you're paddling it actually doesn't feel that wide. It's kind of hard to explain, but the way the hull is and how it moves around, it really doesn't feel wide when you're paddling. It weighs about 48 pounds and it is fairly heavy, but Pyranha has good plastic, so that's a good thing. And then volume is 81 gallons, which I think for a small, it's pretty ideal. Like for someone like me, I'm like 150. It ranges from like 150 to 158 depending on the day. The smalls typically have been too small where they can't handle like above class 5. When you get in that class 5 plus, they get back entered or swallowed up by a hole. Or a medium is too big for my liking. A lot of people my size paddle mediums all the time, no trouble. Just paddle a preference. I would rather have a little more control over the boat. So anyway, I like the smalls if they have one, but this in particular small fits that 140 to 160 range. It's just primo, and there's no other boat that compares to it in that range. So I don't know if the boat's that good or it just fits me that well. I think it's a little bit of both. I haven't talked to anybody that hasn't liked a ReactR. And then the last thing, just for skirts, you could wear probably a large cockpit or an extra large. Either one would go on. The extra large goes on pretty easy, so large would be tight, I guess you want to say. But just looking at the boat, man, it's a good looking boat. I always like a boat that looks good. And I wish they would have some different colors. It's just this and that red. But the Elite outfitting also, if you haven't sat in this or used this, freaking phenomenal. I love it. I'll get to that in a second. I have initial impressions of this boat where I kind of go over the actual boat. I'm not going to get into that. Y'all have seen the ReactR. There's plenty of videos on the ReactR. Just going to review it here. So for river running purposes, I would give this thing a solid 10. I've taken it on high volume water. I've taken it on high volume creeks. This thing is a monster. It will go through just about anything. I have yet to have it be stopped in a hole. I've had it kind of like back entered a little bit, but it's never stopped. Like that tail is just so good. It like will catch, but it flies at a hole so well. I just haven't had any issues. This thing, it's light on its feet when you're paddling. It feels pretty fast overall. And the wave deflectors on the bow that you can see in some of the other videos, they do well when you're going over like big wave trains. For example, on the upper galley, it's like, man, I took it on the upper galley, and I don't consider the upper galley hard anymore, but it was just like a Cadillac. It was awesome. It did everything really well. And on high volume creeks, like we have bottoms here, and it can get pretty pushy at higher water. It just does so well. Sometimes you do want it to slow down a little bit, but as far as like getting through holes and maneuvering with that stern, I've never paddled a creek boat quite like it. It's just so maneuverable and agile for the size it is. It's awesome. So I'm gonna give it a 10 for river running. I don't know, it can't be beat in that area. Creeking, I want to kind of break it down into two different parts. Overall, I want to say 9, but it's kind of a mixture of the two. So like a steep creek, I would give this kind of like an 8, 8.5. It is pretty quick, and like on bottoms, which is pretty steep. If you haven't been on it, it's pretty steep. The GoPro doesn't do it justice. But anyway, when you're coming off the drops, the tail just wants to launch out of holes. Kind of happened on Tremont and some other ones in the Rockies too that I paddled. Anyway, the stern wants to just blast out of the holes a little too fast. So if you have some connected rapids or some boulder gardens where you really want to shift or into an eddy real fast before paddling the next rapid, sometimes it'll get away from you. And I'll put a little clip on here when I went through, there's a series of rapids on bottoms where it's mouse trap, Swiss cheese, and three blind mice. And I wasn't intentionally trying to run three blind mice. Usually you edit out before that. But anyway, that stern will get away from me a little bit. And sometimes go a little too fast. And that's really my only drawback on a steep creek. Sometimes I'd just rather be a little slower boat, a little more able to kind of catch your breath. But like on a high volume creek where it's pretty stout, this thing is a 10, no doubt about it. I wouldn't want any other boat. Like I said, it's agile. Those edges are great for surfing out of holes if you get caught in a hole. It's not like a potato. It's not going to just get thrashed around. The bow will pretty much plow through anything. Had it on the Cascades finally. I was actually worried about it on that. Not like worried that I was going to have any trouble, but I was thinking like I would want my code or something like that, but I really didn't. Creeking overall combo 9, but steep creek I'd probably want something else maybe, but this will do. And then like high volume creeks, I'm definitely taking the ReactR. And it boosts really well too. I don't really have any negatives for it. It just does well. You can kind of get up on that lean boof. It does those really awesome because you can kind of connect that stern a little bit. Super cool because it's kind of like almost like a 3/4 slice in a sense with that stern being a little bit flat. For comfort and outfitting, safety, I'm going to say 9.5. I really like this Elite outfitting, like I said before. It's very easy to move now with this, undoing this seat right here. That was just a huge bugaboo before for me and Piranha and this back band. Gosh, I hated the old back band. And Chris, you know this, I've told you a million times. That thing was just like a piece of cardboard, a piece of trash. I hated it. So unless you did the Wade modification, the back band was almost totally useless, I'm going to have to say. But this new outfitting is really nice. This back band stays in place really well. I actually prefer ropes over the ratchets. Ratchets get very finicky over time and you can't get them as tight as you want. And ropes are also just like dialed into like the millimeter when you want it to be. And I think ropes last longer overall. I've never had issues with ropes. Now, if you are a bigger guy, I don't have that problem obviously, but I think the ropes can maybe give out on you if you have a lot of weight, a lot of force. But I really like the ropes, and they have this kind of reverse cleat in it, which really helps secure the rope, and it's never even budged on me. Comes with the thigh hookers, which is also really nice. I always put them in all my Piranha boats anyway, but since it comes with it, I will say these will move occasionally. That's the only thing that will kind of move on you, so you need to tighten those up after a bit. But it's just super nice that the seat moves. The seat pan still sits low in Piranha boats. I'm not a huge fan of that. I got to put like I think I got 3 seat pads in here, even for a small. But that's just kind of a minor thing. But overall, the outfitting's awesome. Nice step out pillar here, so that's safe. And just overall, Piranha makes a good plastic. You know, it's pretty decent plastics. Really safe boat, really comfortable. I could sit in here all day long with full shoes on, no problem. And the reliability of the plastic and lot is pretty good. Like I said, I want to say 9.5 overall with the new Elite outfitting for sure. That would have got downgraded to like a 7 if it still had the old outfitting. Can't stand that. Playability, I wouldn't say this is like in any creek boat. It's not really that playable. If you want a playable creek boat, get a Flow. That's my opinion. And then again, this is a Piranha video, but I'm just being honest here. I review all boats. It's not the most playful boat, but you can still do rock spins nice because of the stern being so thin. And surfing's okay, but you got kind of a lot of bow rocker and those wave deflectors. I mean, it's fine. It does fine, but you can still, again, 360 spin, flat spin, all that kind of stuff. I'd say like an 8 maybe. It's not the best play boating creek boat I've been in, but it does just fine. Styling and looks, I already kind of talked about this. I give it a 9. I like the way it looks. I like the name. Cool logo. I'm kind of into that thing. If a boat doesn't look good, I really don't want to paddle it, even if it's a really good boat. But looks solid. Really cool design. Nice like decking. Looks pretty cool. I don't know. Like I said, I just wish they would come out with some different colors, or the custom colors were easier to get. So who's going to want a Piranha ReactR? If you are going on any type of high volume creeking and you're my size, especially 140, 160, you're going to want a small ReactR. Bar none, hands down. Don't even ask me in the comments. Go get a ReactR right now. I don't care about the price. They're $18.99 right now. I mean, it's the best boat. Can't buy Can't skip out on performance. There's other good boats, not saying that, but this is the best one. Again, 140 to 160 in the small is going to be just primo weight range, and there's no other boat besides this small reactor that's going to do better for creeking, period. Now, overall, just any size, you're going to want this boat if you're doing a lot of high volume stuff that's fast flowing, stout. I wouldn't necessarily suggest it, again, if you're doing like, all you're doing is steep creeking. It will work. I'm just saying it's not the best boat for that. There's others that are better. So again, high volume, reactor. If you're doing like more steep creek, and maybe go with something else, or you could have both. Also, I will say that if you enjoy a lot of aggressive edging, you like to be a proactive paddler, you're going to want a reactor. If not, if you're kind of laid back, you kind of just enjoy floating down the river, going where the flow takes you, then get something else. The reactor is going to be, again, more of a proactive paddling boat. Yeah, I guess the only other thing, like I said, if you're doing class 5 plus, this is a boat to have. I've been very confident in it lately. Last year I kind of had this weird mental thing. I didn't really get on a lot of stout stuff, and I just wasn't feeling it for some reason. But as soon as I got a reactor, I started to kind of get my game back and really just feel good in this boat. Feel like I could take it pretty much anywhere. Definitely have stepped up to a few bigger things this year. I have to attribute that to the reactor. I can't lie. Sometimes a boat just makes you feel good. You connect with it, just fits you perfectly, all the things. Anyway, if you got any questions about it, let me know. If you want to pick one up, hit up the NOC Outfitter store. It's now nocoutfitters.com. Ask for Wren and drop my name. Yeah, maybe he'll give you something. We'll see, a free hug. If y'all have any comments on your experience with the reactor, small or medium or otherwise, let me know. Would love to hear your thoughts on the reactor, so drop them below. See you on the next one.